Have you ever wondered, what came first, the chicken or the egg? And here's an even crazier twist. Did the very first chicken actually hatch from a dinosaur's egg? Imagine the prehistoric world, giant creatures roaming, and somewhere in that ancient timeline, a tiny egg held a secret. Inside that egg, a small genetic mutation occurred, a change so tiny it almost went unnoticed. But it was enough to create the first modern chicken. So, was it the egg that came first, or the chicken? Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, we're going to uncover the fascinating science, the evolution, and the story hidden inside this timeless question. After we've teased the mystery of the chicken and the egg, let's go back millions of years. The world wasn't filled with modern chickens yet. Instead, wild birds roamed the jungles, and their ancestors laid eggs, just like they still do today. But one special egg was different. Hidden in its DNA was a tiny change, a mutation that would change the course of evolution forever. From this single egg, the very first modern chicken emerged. This tiny mutation might seem insignificant, but in reality, it was enough to create a new species, the chicken we know today. So, while dinosaurs may have laid eggs for millions of years, it was this unique egg, perhaps even from a distant ancestor of the red junglefowl, that hatched the first Gallus domesticus. And that's the point where the debate of chicken or egg begins to make sense through science. Now, let's zoom inside that special egg. Scientists tell us that what made this egg different wasn't just luck, it was a tiny genetic mutation. Mutations are small changes in DNA that can sometimes create new traits in a species. In this case, the mutation altered the embryo's development just enough to produce what we recognize as the first modern chicken. Its feathers, its comb, even its body shape were slightly different from its ancestors. This egg didn't just hatch a bird, it hatched an entirely new species, Gallus domesticus, the chicken we know today. So technically, it wasn't the chicken that came first, it was the egg containing the very first chicken. A single mutation inside an ancient egg changed the course of evolution forever. But wait, this raises an even bigger question. If chickens came from mutated eggs, then where did their ancestors come from? The answer takes us back to the age of dinosaurs. Scientists now agree that modern birds evolved from small, feathered dinosaurs called theropods. Yes, birds are literally living dinosaurs. These ancient creatures laid eggs long before chickens ever existed. Over millions of years, dinosaurs evolved into early birds. Those birds continued laying eggs, generation after generation. Eventually, one branch of these birds became the ancestors of the red junglefowl. And from the eggs of those birds, through evolution and mutation, the first modern chicken was born. So no, a chicken did not hatch directly from a dinosaur's egg, but its ancestors absolutely did. And that makes the egg far older than the chicken itself. So who exactly was the ancestor of the modern chicken? Scientists point to a wild bird called the red junglefowl. This bird lived in the forests of Southeast Asia thousands of years ago, and it still exists today. Genetic studies show that the DNA of the red junglefowl is almost identical to that of modern chickens. In fact, more than 95% of their genetic code matches perfectly. This means the chicken didn't appear suddenly. It evolved slowly, generation by generation, from the red junglefowl. Each time these birds laid eggs, small genetic variations occurred. One of those eggs contained the exact combination of mutations needed to create the first true modern chicken. And that moment hidden inside an egg is where history quietly changed. But evolution didn't stop with nature alone. When humans entered the picture, everything accelerated. Thousands of years ago, early humans began domesticating the red junglefowl. They selected birds that laid more eggs, grew faster, and were easier to control. Over generations, humans unknowingly guided evolution through selective breeding. Each generation still came from an egg, but now those eggs carried traits chosen by humans. Bigger bodies, more eggs, and calmer behavior slowly shaped the modern chicken we see today. So the chicken we eat and raise now is not just a product of nature, it's a product of human-driven evolution. Yet once again, every major change still began inside an egg. Now that we understand evolution, mutation, and domestication, the answer becomes clear. From a scientific point of view, the egg came first. Why? Because eggs existed millions of years before chickens. Dinosaurs laid eggs long before modern birds ever appeared. The first true chicken was born from an egg laid by a bird that was almost but not quite a chicken. That tiny genetic difference inside the egg is what defined the first modern chicken. So the chicken did not create the first chicken egg. Instead, evolution created a new chicken inside an already existing egg. This is why in biology, the answer is simple: the egg came first. So why do so many people still argue that the chicken came first? The confusion comes from how we define a chicken. Most people think a chicken must be born from another chicken, but biology doesn't work that way. In evolution, species don't suddenly appear overnight. The parents of the first chicken were almost chickens, but not exactly. That tiny difference happened inside the egg. Another common myth is that eggs only belong to chickens. But eggs existed long before chickens, birds, or even mammals. Reptiles and dinosaurs were laying eggs millions of years earlier. So when we mix everyday logic with evolutionary science, the question feels confusing. But when we follow biology step by step, the answer becomes clear again. This isn't just a theory, it's backed by real scientific evidence. Genetic studies show that modern chickens share an overwhelming amount of DNA with the red junglefowl. These genetic similarities prove a direct evolutionary link. Scientists have also studied proteins involved in eggshell formation, like ovocletin 17, which exists in birds that came before modern chickens. This shows that the biological machinery for making eggs existed long before chickens did. Fossil evidence adds another layer. Fossilized eggs and nests have been found from dinosaur species that lived millions of years before birds ever appeared. When genetics, proteins, and fossils all point in the same direction, science leaves no room for doubt. Eggs existed first, and chickens came later through evolution. So let's step back and look at the big picture. Dinosaurs laid eggs millions of years ago. Those dinosaurs evolved into birds. Some of those birds became the red junglefowl. Through small genetic mutations inside eggs, the first modern chicken was born. Later, humans shaped chickens even further through selective breeding. At every single stage of this story, one thing remained constant: the egg. Species changed, bodies evolved, and traits shifted, but the egg was always there first. This is why the question chicken or egg isn't really a mystery anymore. When we follow the evidence, evolution gives us a clear and logical answer. So now you know the truth behind one of the oldest questions in human history. Science, evolution, genetics, and fossils all lead to the same conclusion: the egg came first. A tiny mutation inside an ancient egg gave birth to the first modern chicken, and from there, evolution did the rest. If this video changed the way you think, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to the channel for more mind-blowing science stories like this. And now I want to hear from you. What do you think, chicken or egg? Drop your answer in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.